Okay, we are live. Let's go live on Instagram as well. Welcome. This is Attorney Eric Klopper, and I am the president of Intact Global, right? There you go, baby. And this is the 12th day in a series of lives where we are promoting Intact Global's first conference that will climax, will end in filing our first constitutional challenge to end the genital mutilation of children on a state-by-state basis. We're going to be starting in Oregon. I see. Great to see you, Justin. I see you. You are a hero in Portland. We got here. Great to see you, Katie. It's going to be an epic conference. We've already got great numbers as of March 4, over 40 individuals. We're looking to get that to be 80 by the end of the month. But the reality is we've already won. And, as I say often, as Justin, I can't get the emojis from Instagram to port over to the other channels. But yeah, we've already won, so clap for everybody. A lot of you have bought tickets, and you still should buy tickets because this is going to be an epic event, especially if you're an intactivist, you're dedicated to protecting children from genital cutting. Random Kid, great to see ya. Katie W, great to see you as well. We are cruising to success already. Things are very good at the Klopper Law Firm, very busy, but, this is obviously extremely near and dear to my heart, to many of my viewers and subscribers. So if you haven't already, definitely like this stream, share this stream on Discord, on Reddit, whatever channels that where the intactivists gather and discuss how is it even possible that we continue to mutilate our infants at birth. What world do we live in? Well, we live in this world, and we're going to make it a better place. And we're going to do that with constitutional litigation. And Intact Global is going to be the entity that coordinates and funds that type of litigation, right? So for the first lawsuit, Oregon, my law firm and a local law firm in Oregon are going to be filing that lawsuit, right? So we've got, that's the first lawsuit that we're starting with. But as we expand, we're going to have more law firms, more lawsuits. We're going to make this into a national conversation in the immediate future, right? Here we have Ocean Birth coming in. Hi, Eric. Hi, Chatters. Great to see you, Ocean Birth. She's a legend. She also is helping me out with these streams. So anyway, we've got Mark. Great to see you, Mark. Great to see you, Schwartz. See you on the Instagram feed as well. So to reiterate, Rooster. Hi, Eric. I've been following for years, but I'm afraid you have been compromised. What does that even mean? No, I am as independent an agent as ever, actually more so. I've got no master I answer to. I run my own law firm, and we are rocking and rolling at the Klopper Law Firm, let me assure you. So that's why I could pretty much float this event, right, and make it happen. I am 100% committed to ending the genital cutting of children. And we're going to start the process, hint, at ending the non-religious, medically unnecessary genital cutting of children, right? We are going to start where it makes the most sense, where is the least resistance, where we have the highest chance of succeeding with our limited resources, because every child deserves to be protected from this outrageous form of violence. But, if you are Napoleon, let's say, you don't go for the most fortified fort. You go where you get your victories. You start gaining momentum, right? And right now, one of the least fortified areas is the Pacific Northwest. They don't fund circumcision. It's not culturally a thing. It's not religiously a thing. They have one of the lowest rates. They're very progressive. And I just mean on various issues like legalizing cannabis, right? I think they were pretty early on in marriage equality, right? They are not bound by, let's say, uh, the past. And generally, cutting and mutilating your infants is definitely a past type thing, right? And most of the non-religious world does not do it at all. And in fact, Christianity forbids it. So if you're circumcised and you're Christian, it's actually a violation of your faith. Now, I know America kind of got the hots for it for a while to stop kids from masturbating, but that's an aberration. So anyway, as Jose says, I catch your drift. Thank you. The law can progress faster than society, like those two examples. Well, it depends. Like society, Oregon or Washington or Colorado, those are societies, right? It's like how big are we expanding our lens? I think the last country to outlaw slavery was like in the 1980s, right? Like formally. Obviously, people are still slaves in various capacities, but it's important to make it officially illegal, because that, even if you don't eradicate it, you certainly make it much less common. And the same with genital cutting. It's going to take a very long time to convince everybody not to mutilate their infants, because you can't monitor everybody at the same time, right? I mean, you kind of can, and we're moving towards that. And maybe if it's programmed properly, will say no cutting your kids, right? Right now, and we could do a little live test. Although actually, I don't really want to share my, how should I say, my chatbot with everybody, just because there's a lot of data in that. But anyway, yeah, if you ask it, I think that it treats male genital cutting more favorably than female genital cutting. I'm almost certain of it, because of the data set that it feeds, right? Which is a lot of ambivalent articles about circumcision. Well, maybe it's not as bad as female circumcision. Of course, it's the same thing. You're cutting off parts of a baby's body. And Rooster, thank you, Eric. I understand. Good, right? I mean, that's as direct as I can be on my live stream. Now, going back to the purpose of this live stream, that's not going to be a super long live stream. I've done some hours, some 100-minute live streams, but the reality is we already are successful with the conference. We've got enough ticket sales. It's not to say you shouldn't attend, and you absolutely should, but like I was insuring against, okay, not great numbers. We already have great numbers, right? So if you're passionate about this cause, you should attend. It is March 29th to 31. There's the clickable link, right? intactglobal.org /events and so on and so forth. I'm going to actually put the easier link in the chat as well. It's intactglobal/conference, right? Very easy. You can remember that. It's the Intact Global Conference, right? Intact.global conference. And so if you go to that link, what you'll see, and let me pop that bad boy up over here, and I'll share my screen with you beautiful people, is we're going to present, share screen. Oh, and definitely subscribe to my YouTube channel. That's the number one that we want to do. But so here, if you go to intact.global/conference, you can see right here, it's the 2025 Intact Global Conference. It's going to be occurring March 29 to 31 in Portland, Oregon, right? And it will be a historic event. This is going to be, we are removing humanity from the child sacrifice timeline. I know it is exciting. It is important. It is crucial for our development as a species to stop cutting up our children to satiate the deities. That's totally batshit nuts. Oh, I didn't make it 10 minutes without an obscenity. I apologize. But anyway, that's mostly to ocean birth. But anyway, so it's March 29 to 31. That's a Saturday through a Monday. And it's going to be historic. We're going to launch our first constitutional challenge against male genital cutting. And the crux of the argument is, you in Oregon and in most states, you're not allowed to discriminate statutory protections on the basis of sex, right? You can't only protect boys and not protect girls, or vice versa, or intersex individuals as well. And so anyway, I tell you a comment, Ocean Bird. Anyways, so that's the type of challenge we're filing. It's a very strong complaint. Mishi, I know you're on the other side of the country, but we got planes. I know it's not super convenient. And then we're going to talk about a program. All right, well, how do we work together to like get a definitive victory. This is not, interactivism is no longer a wishy-washy, hope this ends in a generation. It's like, how do we do this in, 1 to 2 years, right? I am like a dog with a bone, right? We're going to end this. I'm going to end it like ASAP, right? We can do this, and it's not going to take some excessive amount of resources. So the page starts with the lawsuit announcement. That's the big event. It's March 31st. It starts around 10 a.m. That's Monday in the Courtyard Square in Portland. And this is what the Courtyard Square looks like. We've reserved that. They processed our application fee today. I put in the application December, but they didn't get it or whatever. It doesn't matter. But I'm on top of this, right? This is a Clopper event. So anyway, so join us in the heart of Portland as we publicly announce the Equal Protection Challenge, and we're going to have a lot of speakers, some plaintiffs, hopefully, certainly some of the lawyers, and we are going to live stream the event right to the world and say, look, this is where we make our first stand, but not our last. And as we continue to build momentum, if more plaintiffs come forward from other states, and the criteria to be a plaintiff is pretty small, right? You got to be circumcised, and you have to be like 25 years or younger. And if you're older, you might be able to be a plaintiff, but you just can't be the lead plaintiff, right? But it doesn't mean you're not really helping move things forward, and that's just a legal technical thing we can get into. But yeah, we're going to stand for collective change to end children equally, end genital mutilation of all children equally. That's the gist. We want to protect all children equally. That is the motto of Intact Global. And we're going to have complimentary coffee and croissants, and not just because of the alliteration, but because everyone likes at least croissants. I'm a huge coffee guy. But for the actual conference, Saturday and Sunday, right? That's the weekend, March 29 to 30. You should definitely make it. But it's going to be at the Sentinel Hotel, right? It's the storied Sentinel Hotel. It's actually really classy. I actually got on a plane from Los Angeles to Portland, December 18 to 20. And I checked out 10 different venues with my lead videographer and my point man and volunteer in Oregon, who's also the agent for servant of process, which is just like legal Easter egg. But yeah, we looked at 10 different venues, and the Sentinel was the number one, right? It was head and shoulders. Price-wise, it's about the Marriott or the Hilton. If you factor in our room block, which I'm going to share with you, and I did get corrected. If you've been watching the live streams, see I've been griping about it not working while I spoke with the guy today, and that's working again. So anyway, definitely get your room block. You save about $40 a night, brings it down to a Marriott or a Hilton price, and it's also nicer and cooler, and it's unique, right? And it's also where we're all going to be, so it's going to be convenient too. And also if we don't, so anyway, and so the conference ticket's going to include 2 lunches, coffee throughout, a reception, and we're going to have speeches from me. I'm going to do 2 talks. It's not going to be like, probably won't end in full nudity. No promises, but very unlikely. And then some other board members and other leaders of the Interactivist movement. So anyway, and then we still have early bird pricing, right? And we have a swag bag. So you get a hat, which you'll have a sticker on because it has some chemical that, is probably not good for you. And then we have the t-shirts of whatever size you want. And we also have a canvas bag, which I have over there. It's pretty solid, actually, like gym bag or whatever, grocery bag. Now, the reality is we only have like 2 or 3 more of those. So I'm probably going to pull the swag bag from the website soon. If you want your Intact Global swag, get your ticket now. You got 1 or 2 days left to do so. You should definitely still attend, but I'm just saying the early birds are almost done. We're still probably going to sell it at $200 because we don't want anyone to be priced out of this conference. And actually, we have a very generous donor who is willing to donate 4 early bird tickets, a value of $800. And it's not like we're making money. These lunches, these receptions, they cost money, right? And Jake's Catering, which does these catering at Sentinel, it's like top tier hotel catering. It's actually really good food. I pick my venues carefully, right? Why do we think we did Sanders Theater at Harvard? Because that was the premier venue at Harvard where, you know, the Dalai Lama and I think Theodore Roosevelt, who else spoke there? Winston Churchill, right? That was like the level that we wanted. And, you know, obviously the Sentinel is not hosting Winston Churchill, but it's hosting Intact Global, baby. Just as good. Yes, so there's definitely, and we also have another scholarship for anyone who is a doula or an obstetrics nurse or an OBGYN. If you want to attend, we'll comp your ticket complimentary, just because it's so important that that you get involved actively in the movement. So if you're a doula or an OBGYN or in the birthing field, you know, shoot me a message at eric@intactglobal.org, and we'll make sure you get a complimentary ticket if this is an event that you can make, and we hope it is. So anyway, yeah, and so the actual lineup, so it starts at Saturday at 8 a.m. I'm going to give a talk about the future of intactivism. Where are we? But mostly, where are we going? Right? And how do we get there? And how do we get there as quickly as possible? And engaging on social media and really blowing up this feed, which again, you know, this is in preparation for the conference, in preparation for the constitutional challenge, which is where we really gain ground. Because I think once we actually start challenging this obvious sex-based discrimination that has no grounding in biology, no grounding in ethics, that we are going to make real progress. Now, it has grounding in tradition and history, as in we've consistently mutilated our boys for 2,000 years, if you're part of my religion. But the reality is tradition is not a good reason to continue harming children. So anyway, so yeah, I'm going to start with a talk on where are we going. Then the treasurer is going to give a speech on how do we fund this movement, right? You know, although circumcision is a multi-billion-dollar industry, it's not going to cost billions of dollars to end this. It probably costs millions, you know, and it's not like we have to raise it all at once. Now, if we're raising 10 grand a month, we could continue to sue Oregon till the end of days. If we raise 20 grand a month, we could probably sue Oregon and Colorado. 30 grand, Oregon and Colorado and New Hampshire. 40 grand, Oregon, Colorado, New Hampshire, and Texas, right? These are somewhat arbitrary states. We may have a plaintiff from Minnesota as well, but it kind of gives you a, you know, an approximation, right? If we're raising 100 grand a month, I could manage 10 different lawsuits, right? Make, you know, stay on top of them. Obviously, we're going to hire other law firms. I can't do everything, but that would essentially be the gist of it. And you know, considering how important this movement is, it is an international human rights movement of pressing severity that harms, maims over 3,000 boys every day, a bunch of intersex children, and kills 100 babies a year and maims these individuals for life. And it's going to pull us out of the human sacrifice timeline. I mean, come on. You know, if I was loaded, I would bankroll it myself and, you know, ask me in 3 months, because if I have a upcoming trial goes well, you know, this might be a pet project of mine. But, you know, we're not counting on that, and we really need your support. So become a monthly donor at Intact Global. And if you do donate in the next few days, we'll reach out to you and see if you want a complimentary ticket to the conference, right? If you can make it. Because we have another donor who's just funding, I should say, anyone who can make it, the next 4 people. And we also have just a policy at Intact Global, if you're a doula or an OBGYN, that we want you there, right? Someone in the birthing industry. And then we're going to have both 2 other board members. So Shay Johnson, good friend of mine, a neighbor in the zip code, the same zip code in LA. He's going to talk about how do we grow coalition, because we want both wings of the airplane. This is not a Republican or a Democrat or an independent or a libertarian or an anarchist or a Green Party or a, I don't know, other party, conservative or old Tea Party or whatever party movement. This is a movement for the children. It's nonpartisan. It is, do you have enough humanity to recognize that we shouldn't be mutilating babies? That's the type of party that we're recruiting, and it's everyone on all sides of the aisle, above and below the aisle, you name it. And so Shay's going to talk about, well, how do we recruit everybody, no matter their beliefs? Because let me tell you, the board members of Intact Global, they disagree on a lot, right? A lot. But we all agree we need to protect all children from genital mutilation, and that's what matters for us as board members. It's what matters for us as a community who attend the conference. It's what should matter as all of us as intactivists if we're gonna win. We cannot mix issues. We cannot create division. We are united in our desire and in our coordination and execution of protecting children from genital cutting. As Daniel Petrucci says, we shouldn't mutilate babies. Full stop. Absolutely, right? That's where we're at. So anyway, going back to the conference page, intact.global/conference. And then Will Long, who's also brilliant, and he actually made the whole Intact Global website, which is awesome. He's going to talk about, well, how do we actually coordinate like really skilled and everybody to actually contribute, right? Because we already have a really talented volunteer in Portland who's making things happen, and I know I have to get you a contract. I just haven't had the chance today. I apologize, Jay traveling, but yeah, how do we onboard all of these individuals to really contribute their skills? Because yeah, we want you to be a monthly donor to Intact Global. $10-20 a month goes a long way. If you do $500 a month, even better. But yeah, so he's going to talk about like the actual, how does that look in reality? And then we'll have a panel after lunch. We're going to have Tony Lasquardo is going to talk. That's going to be moved up here. He's the director of Intaction, right, which is doing really great work. Then we have the director of GALDEF, who's going to be giving a great talk. What does GALDEF do? What type of litigation do they support? They're going to have they actually support the Oregon Equal Protection too. They're throwing $10,000 behind that. So GALDEF is epic. And then we have the director of Doctors Opposing Circumcision giving a talk as well, John Geishiker. And he has great initiative that we all want to get behind, right? We want to get behind everyone's initiatives. We are working together. This is the Intact Coalition, right? And thank you, Rebecca. I appreciate that. Great lineup. It's great to see you. So yeah, anyway, we have a great Intact Coalition lineup. If you're part of a Intactivist group, Rebecca, wink, wink, or any other Intactivist group, you want to represent your group, this is the time to do it. It could be as easy as a 15, 18-minute TED Talk with some questions. And then we're going to have a panel of Intact Coalition members, right? And that's when, a lot of this is going to be a collaborative kind of interactive process, right? You're not going to just be talked to 6 to 8 hours a day. We're going to, ask questions. We're going to synchronize our clocks. We're going to say, okay, it's great. And it's going to end with the Oregon Equal Protection Challenge, but how do we also move forward with this, right? And so that's what we're going to be doing. We'll have a panel, then we're going to have a nice reception in the Sentinel Hotel, which is a beautiful location, right? We picked it for a reason. Checked out 10 different venues. So next Sunday, we're going to have mostly litigators talk, although we might move the schedule a little to accommodate. My good friend Martin Novoa is going to be there, so he might take Tony's spot, who's going to be talking Saturday. Then we have Zena's Bar, and Martin's been in this movement for 50, 60 years, right? In middle school, he was like, oh my God, I can't believe we're doing this to our kids. It took me 18, 19 years, maybe 20 to really figure it out. He figured it out even earlier. But Zenas, he's going to give a great talk. He's done similar litigation almost a generation ago, right? And some things take time to mature. You need the grassroots support. You need the awareness. You need a certain threshold, right? And we were not there in the 90s. I do believe we are there in 2025, but we need a tip of the spear, so to speak, and that's this constitutional litigation, right? It really forces the issue to the state judiciary, who is much more, in my experience, open to really progressing things in a helpful way than the federal judiciary, which is more of a laggard institution, in my experience, right? And certainly at the Supreme Court, most likely. So he sued in federal court about over 30 years ago. And so what were the lessons learned? Peter Adler, who's of counsel to my law firm. He's also the leading legal scholar of genital cutting and the various causes of action that it gives to those who are cut without consent and without medical need. So he's going to give a talk on, okay, well, what are your remedies? Like, who can you sue and why at the conference? And then also we have Brad Kane, who I learned to litigate under at the Kane Law Firm in Los Angeles. And he is a brilliant litigator, and he's a brilliant political strategist and kind of, I should say, crafter of messages, right? What is the winning message? How do we get the mushy middle, the people who are passive and ignorant? And I don't say that in a bad way. I'm ignorant about a lot of things. A lot of people, just by necessity, we just can't know everything. But obviously America by and large is ignorant about the harm of circumcision. Otherwise we wouldn't do it, right? So how do we communicate to that mushy middle who doesn't have any strong feelings why they should agree with us, the intactivists? And the winning message, we believe, is we need to protect all children equally. We're not talking about blood or torture or sex or genitals. And, obviously ripping off parts of a child's genitals implicates all of those things. But how do we sanitize this message so people can get behind it without turning people away, right? Because you can argue there's definitely a place in the movement for like really shock therapy, as you could say, and obviously I've done something similar in that regard in many ways. But how do we let's say dilute, you could say, or make the message palatable to the majority of people? Because I think we definitely have a good base, but we need to expand. And so Brad's going to talk about that. And then we have Deborah Shagian, who's a friend of mine. She also runs a civil litigation firm in Los Angeles, as do I, as does Brad Kane. And she's going to talk about, she grew up in a conservative Jewish household. I grew up, certainly definitely more on the reform side, you could say. And she's going to talk about her realization as an adult, oh my God, my community is really committed to doing this to children, but it's harming Jewish boys, like aggressively harming Jewish boys. And some people in my community, some agree with me, but a lot of people look at me like I have two heads and I'm not the crazy one. Let me tell you why it's so dangerous. Cultural conditioning without any reflection or questioning is very dangerous, and not just theoretically, but actually. Like, you are literally putting children and infants in danger when you are ripping off parts of their bodies when they are defenseless, vulnerable infants, right? And she's going to speak to that community to say, look, I realize we have been doing this for a long time, but it is actively harming our boys, and we have a duty to protect our children, right? And so anyway, then we're going to end with John Silla, who's a good friend of mine, convinced me to become an attorney. And he runs American Institute of Bisexuality, and he's had huge progress. I mean, self-reported bisexuality was probably 1% one generation ago. Now Gen Z, 50 or 23% of Gen Zs identify as some type of bisexual. Considering sexuality is on a spectrum from totally straight to totally gay, it makes sense that most people would not be on the extremes. So he's had huge progress in the movement, and he funds a lot of sex research in universities and all that as well. And that legitimacy and credibility and adherence to science, right? Scientific standards and the scientific process. He's had great work on that, and he's going to give a talk kind of relating the two and say, look, how do we make intactivism, just like bisexuality is becoming with Gen Z, how do we make it cool, assumed, and normal, right? It is assumed that you are not for cutting off parts of children. It is assumed that you do not perform cosmetic surgeries on your children, right? It is cool to protect children and not be for bleeding them, right? Whether vitrally or medically for no reason. It is normal to be intact. That is how we were made, whether by the creator or evolution, whatever your beliefs are. And if and most religions are totally not game with circumcision, including Christianity. And then I'm going to give a final talk after we have a panel of the lawyers. And then we're going to have a founders dinner. It's a Multnoma's Whiskey Lounge, which is a very bougie, cool underground space. There's only 3 tickets left, 1, 2, 3. So if you want to come, there was 4 yesterday. There's 3 today. That is where the board members, the heavy donors, the leaders of the Intactivist movement are going to be there. So if you want to be kind of in the mastermind circle, you want to come to the founders dinner, right? So that is definitely an event that I implore you to sign up for before they sell out. And I've had some communications with the Multnomah Whiskey Lounge yesterday. And I was like, well, what if we sell more tickets? Can we expand it? And it was an affirmative no. So, I would love to make it more than 22 people, but it's not going to happen. So if you want to be part of that dinner, get your ticket now. So anyway, and then, that's Sunday night, the founders dinner. And we have a little, and these are all the speakers here, or at least a good chunk of them. There's going to be a few more. There's going to be a little shuffling. And the founders dinner, this is where the venue is. Just it's a nice place, right? Like I pick nice places to do this stuff. And so, yeah, this is the green room, I believe, where we're going to have the dinner. And then we're going to have Monday, as I said before, Monday, late morning, we're going to host our press conference in the Courtyard Square. And we're going to call it a day, right? That is going to be Intact Global's conference. It's going to end with the constitutional litigation. And then that's going to be the beginning of the end. We're going to scale that constitutional litigation up to as many as we can do. And so if you're attending, I highly encourage you to get to use our hotel block, right? And then I'm going to come back to Make America Intact Again. I should get that as a hat. I actually really like that. But yeah, so we want to use the discounted rooms. So it goes down to about the Marriott or Hilton price range. You click on this right here, book discounted rooms. You come to this page right here where the room block is automatically put in, and you just put whatever stay that you have. It goes from Friday to Monday, I guess. Yeah, so there you go. If you need additional rooms, additional nights, ping me and we probably can figure it out. And so, yeah, that is the process. And other than that, and the last thing, going back to the Intact.global page, to actually get the ticket, we hit buy early bird. Again, there's only about 3 swag bags left, I believe. But you go to Ticket Tailor once you hit this link right here. And you're going to go to Ticket Tailor, and you're just going to select your tickets over in this corner. And the lawsuit announcement's free on Monday. And then, get your, 1 or 2 early birds. It says there's 19 remaining, which is true. At the same time, there's only like 2 swag bags or 3 swag bags or 4. Somewhere less than 5 swag bags remain. So yeah, definitely do that. Get your early bird ticket, and then if you want your t-shirt and hat and bag, for sure. And there's only 3 founders tickets left, as I said earlier. So if this is something you want to go to, I definitely encourage that. Okay, and now that is it. So let me get to some comments. We're going to wrap it up, and because I got more work to do tonight, and we're on a death march here at the Klopper Law Firm, but we win our cases, right? How do you think we afford these new offices and employees and you name it? So, starred. So yeah, please watch my content. That's the most important comment. Watch my other live streams and videos, and definitely subscribe and share this. We want to get me to 10,000 YouTube subscribers by the conference, or at least as close to as we can. Right. So share this content, especially if you have a platform. And even if you don't, and especially if you don't, this is a grassroots effort, baby. As we used to say, I used to work at Wendy's, but then I started spamming circumcision memes. Now I'm a helicopter pilot, living my dreams. Thank you, Eric. You gave me the infinite money glitch for karma. That is pretty epic. If you want to develop that point, Rooster, love to hear it. I used to work in a consulting job. I was like, screw it, I'm going to end circumcision. This is what I'm passionate about, and we're going to do it together. I'm like, we are so close, we can taste it. Apparently, Donald Trump talked about defunding circumcision in his State of the Union address again. That's 3 times the executive branch has discussed defunding genital cutting in like 2 weeks, right? And whatever your beliefs are, or wherever you fall on the political spectrum, I'm a single issue voter. And if my president's talking about defunding circumcision, that is what I care about, right? You don't even have to make it illegal. Just don't fund it, and people aren't going to, cut up their babies. That's a huge win. As Rooster says, living the dream wouldn't have been possible if I didn't learn from Eric. Now I spam memes helping people from harm and giving babies the gift of full autonomy. I've become efficient over the years. You bring up a good point, Rooster. One, you get a lot of good karma doing this work. You help a lot of babies, people who are going to think, even if they don't know you, you have made the world a better place in a measurable, considerable way. Because trust me, I have a lot of rage over this. And, obviously I wish it never happened to me, but, the mission, I would say my life's mission, although I think I could do it by certainly by the time I'm 40, right? I'm 32. I don't think it's going to take that long. But, my immediate mission is to end this outrageous abuse. But when you have, let's say, the chutzpah, right, to really confront evils in the world, you're going to be more successful. I think Rooster may have had some of that rub off on you, which, I've become not wildly successful, but much more successful because I'm my own boss, and now I run a, rockin' and rollin' law firm. Has anyone reached out to Marcus Person? We've got a live one in the comments. Has anyone reached out to Marcus Person? And if so, did he respond? I do not know who that is, but let's look him up. Marcus Person, is that it sounds almost like a meme. And to your comment before, Rooster, memes are epic, right? That's how you communicate in the modern day age. Our current president is great with memes, and he's the president. So whether you like him or not, Marcus Person, he is a Swedish video game programmer and designer, the head of Minecraft. I've heard from Reddit, which means it's true, that he's hardcore anti-circumcision. Let's just, why don't I share this tab right now? We're going to see, the reality is we just need one Marcus Person, right? We need one of these guys. Marcus Person, here he is. He created Minecraft, sad, lonely, and 2.5 million. That's mean. I bet he's not. Or 2.5 billion, excuse me. That's a big difference. 1,000 times difference. He looks pretty epic, actually. We love the Swedes. So let's see. What is his position on circumcision? So Marcus Person, he's the guy who made Minecraft. He said circumcision is male genital mutilation before. His game features a rapidly moving baby. I don't think that is... so anyway, I'm not seeing it here, but I believe that he said, whoever shared that, random kid, that's a very credible name. Random kid, give me some sources. As Oshaber said, the top Turk states: Virginia, Michigan, Kentucky, Nebraska, Iowa, Wisconsin, South Carolina, Wyoming, Hawaii. I'm surprised. Probably not going to start there. I'm happy to sue those states if we have the lawyer and the plaintiff. And then if we have the lawyer and the plaintiff and a lawyer and a plaintiff in another state, I've learned trying to sue Harvard in the beginning, although I learned how to litigate, diving in the deep end and federal appellate litigation all the way to the U.S. Supreme Court. Harvard is an armored defendant who, apparently the federal rules of civil procedure are not applied to, in my experience. But the same with, let's say we sued California. It's the 6th biggest economy in the world, maybe 5th. So we want to take on challenges that we have a reasonable chance of winning. And the higher the circumcision rate, the more likely the judge is going to be cut, the more likely there's going to be resistance to it because there's more money involved in mutilating infants in the state. So we'll probably avoid those states. Jake, I just ridiculed these people nicknamed my dad Willie Skinner. So I think your dad was intact. Dylan, great to see you again. Love to see you. Maddie, great. Thanks for catching the stream. Don't stop, Eric. Not stopping. We're going gun-ho. I got to survive this conference, and I got a major trial after, and then I'm going to take a vacation, right? But yeah, I'm not stopping. We're getting through. I always like and watch your videos. We love that, random kid. You are the man, and we need more people like you, right? Or the woman. Excuse me. Be brave, and mighty forces will aid you. That is the plan. It's always been the plan, and I've had a lot of great support, including all you tuning in. And we need the billionaire support, right? That's where we need to go. Josh Clark, like button smashed. It's not clicked, but smashed. See, that's the type of enthusiasm we need. Imagine the positive karma of stopping a single circumcision, removing extreme pain from the world. Give a person throughout their entire life the joy and pleasure of their full anatomy, right? It's just true. It is good karma, right? To do this type of work. And it's becoming much more mainstream, and we're trying to get it to be judicially recognized as a constitutional right. And there's a fairly high chance of succeeding, and we're going to sue a whole bunch of states too. We're not putting all our cards in Oregon, but that's where we're starting the game. But we'll scale this up, internet, if you guys support this initiative. I'm all in. Dude, I assure you, I've been doing this for a long time. I torched my Harvard career to prove to you that this is the most important thing. And, obviously that ended up in what was best for me in the movement, but, there was significant losses incurred at the time. Eric Klopper, Marcus Person is against circumcision, and he is a billionaire. Yeah, we just looked, I think you posted before. Hey, if you know how to reach him, or if he watches these streams, which, anything is possible, baby. But yeah, let's get in touch with him. Thank you, everyone, for fighting bodily autonomy. Danielle, in many languages, there's not even a name for uncircumcised. It's either penis or circumcised penis. That makes sense. He said that in response to someone. Yeah. So, random kid, I get it. For Mark Person, find me the link, find me the video, find me whatever, and that will help. Jake, find a wealthy Gen Z and millennial to sponsor. Hey. We'll take wealthy individual from any generation, but yeah, those demographics are hands down. Like we know, we've taken large polls. Certainly, YouGov. I actually cited it in my Harvard performance. The younger you are, the more opposed to circumcision you are, because you haven't been steeped in the dogma. Now, obviously, people who aren't from circumcising cultures, people who are more open-minded or wise. It's not so much intelligence, but wisdom. Like, I see Peter Adler's zooming in, but but just demographically, generationally speaking, Gen Z, millennials and Gen Z, very opposed to genital cutting. And, that's where the world is turning. Rachel, great to see you again. Thank you for you. Thank you for you, Rachel. Believe in me as I believe in you. I do believe in you, Maddie. And, the power of one person is immense. Not only can you protect individuals from this type of extreme harm, but you can recruit, right? You say, get in touch with Marcus Person, for example. Well, I'm maxed out, so you should ping him on X, right? Ping him on email. Ping his, administrative assistant, whoever. He's a billionaire. I'm sure he's got a legion of gatekeepers. Message them. How did your parents take your stance? My family doesn't circumcise anymore. And my mom was always very understanding because she's the smart one. My dad, it took some time and some, as you've seen, emotional intensity. But, I have prevailed in that. And we're going to prevail with all individuals in this country, right? Doesn't matter how deeply held belief that you think you can mutilate your infants, doesn't matter. But we're not going there. That's not what the upcoming lawsuits are about. That's just me speaking as an individual, not as the president of Intact Global. Dylan says colleges are a joke. Oftentimes. Positivity is contagious. Eric, are you married, single? If so, do they support the process? I am not married and I am not single, and she is very supportive of the movement. I mean, she's aware that you shouldn't mutilate infants, right? And if she wasn't, I'm not sure if we would be a good match, right? Barry, that we already hit that one. I remember thinking when I was younger, they wouldn't allow it if that's bad. That's totally reasonable. And I thought that too, like, it must be good because it happened. That is incorrect, as we know. It's actually horrific, and just because it is common does not mean it is normal or acceptable, right? And so that's really the big stumbling block. Oh, well, it can't be that bad if it happened to 100 million people, but it is that bad, even if though it happened to so many people. We're just so committed to this lie as a society that like it's really hard to stop now. It's like we've already bought in. We can't turn back. Well, we are turning back. Independent of me, independent of Intact Global, the rates are dropping every year, but we want to smash those rates. We want to decimate them, and we can. And defunding it, right, is a good way to start, but also these constitutional challenges. Your presentation on circumcision completely opened my eyes. Thank you, man. Dude, had to do it. Glad you watched it. Give them hell. That is the plan. Violation of the Constitution, one's religious rights, and pursuit to happiness. Yeah, well, you're definitely my religious rights, right? What if I don't identify as Jewish anymore, right? And yet I have this like weird kind of mark that, you know, I'm not cool with. So anyway, that's a good argument, and we're not dealing with the religious aspects right now. That's a different category. Rooster, Eric, you should watch the original Star Wars. When Vader cuts his son Luke with his lightsaber, it is an allegory for circumcision. It truly is one of the movies of all time. I've seen the original Star Wars, right? Don't get me wrong. And when I watched it originally, I didn't catch the circumcision reference, although I do now. Yeah, and there's also Pan's Labyrinth. There's a allegory for circumcision as well, about sacrificing the baby, I believe. So what's your position on Jewish influence beyond the health sector? Well, you know, a lot of leading intactivists are Jewish, right? But, you know, also a lot of the leading opposition is too. So, you know, it's a huge spectrum. And it's hard to, let's say, oh, well, you know, it's unanimously good or bad. You know, obviously this religion it's codified to mutilate your infant, and that's not helpful, but it's codified to do a lot of terrible things in the Old Testament, like stone gay people to death, and that would land you in prison for life. So, you know, it's not a perfect book. It doesn't matter if you call it the mutilation of an infant's genitals. You have to act like it's the mutilation of an infant's genitals. Okay, we're getting a lot of comments here, and I'm tired, and I got a lot of work to do tonight. So we're gonna wrap it up. As Maddie says, we're gonna do this. Eric, how does one pursue justice for a botched circumcision? I've been talking to lawyers. They barely get a reply. Well, there's a lot of factors, and it's going to be hard to explain them, and I don't have the capacity to talk with you or whoever it is that you want to discuss with this right now, unfortunately. But you want to talk to a personal injury lawyer in your state in which you were harmed, right? And they're going to do the analysis. Was the statute of limitations passed? Did you wait long enough? And the answer may be yes, maybe no. I don't know. It depends on the state laws and your age. And there's probably going to be a bunch of different other things they analyze too. This is not a legal consult. This is purely entertainment, although I am a lawyer and I can, you know, coherently speak on these issues. But yeah, so you're going to have to talk to a PI attorney who is licensed to practice law in the state that you had a botched circumcision. Maddie Campbell, I want to thank you, Eric, for your generosity, the love, and the respect you gave me. Dude, Maddie, I'm stoked that you joined these live streams and that you're with us in the movement. You know, Peter Adler says, since doctors do it, they imply and people believe that it is medicine, which, yeah, right? Which it's a reasonable assumption that if a doctor recommends it, that it's medicine, but that is inaccurate for circumcision because there is no medical necessity. And in fact, it actively harms the individual. So it's one of those aberrations that we need to challenge. And if we had a boatload of cash, we'd sue a whole bunch of doctors and hospitals. But we have limited resources, so we target the we file the lawsuits that are most likely to win and yield positive change, which is why we're suing the state of Oregon, and we'll sue other states as well. Random Kid, I posted a source for Marcus Person. It was a Twitter link. He tweeted in response to someone asking him about circumcision, and he responded, "You mean ritual male genital mutilation?" What you want to do, okay, when you say you posted a source, I don't see it, but that doesn't mean you didn't post it. Maybe tomorrow's live stream, just post it in the chat. We'll share it on my X, and we could dissect that. And maybe I'll post him. You know, I'll post a response in the beginning of the stream if you remind me, Random Kid. My guess is probably 8 p.m. Pacific time, just because I'm, I'm kind of on a death march, but as long as we end the genital mutilation children, it's okay. I'm not going to die for at least 10 years, barring any, malicious intervention. Right? But yeah. Well, I'll ping him on X, and you should all ping him too on that same chain, which is still there. Rooster, love you, Eric. Thank you so much. You're the GOAT, right? I appreciate being the GOAT. The reality is, we're gonna end this, and we're gonna do it soon. So my last pitch, Intact Global Conference, right? Intact.global/conference. Here is the link. Here is the link, Intact Global-conference. Go there, get your ticket. There's only 3 founders tickets left. I think there's less than 5 swag bags left. The conference is going to be well attended. Get your room block as well. I do look tired. Dude, I've got a major trial as well as the major conference, right? So we're doing what we can. And then last comments, Peter Adler says, contact David Llewellyn. And in my opinion, the statute of limitations begins on discovery. Thank you all. Thank you all for coming. Have a great night, everybody. Hit the like button. Subscribe to my YouTube, my other channels. Good night, Maddie. Love you too. Hit the like button and hope you have a good rest. So again, have a good night, everybody. I will see you tomorrow. My guest is 8 p.m. Pacific time. And yeah, I look forward to seeing you at the conference, March 29 to 31. Go to intact.global/conference. Again, I will put that link as the final screen grab for this live, I believe 12th live, which is working excellent because we got great numbers at the conference already. And I will see you there, and we will end the genital mutilation in the next couple years. So have a good night, everybody. Oh, and last note, I upgraded my internet, baby. I haven't had the chance to set it up. I'm going to try to do that tonight. So it seems like the streams are going pretty well okay, but if we're high enough, maybe we'll even do 4K, because then you can really tell how tired I am. Okay. Anyway, have a good night, everybody. Great to see you. Greg, I see you're tuning in. I'll see you tomorrow, guys. Bye.